Hi, everybody. Yeah, today I wanted to make a fairly short video presentation about the Lincoln cent and some cents that came prior to that, previous cents such as the Indian head and the ones before that. Based on my coin collection, there will be 2026 pennies. It's only a question of how many there are and how to get one if you're really into the 2026 penny. So I'd like to go on with this presentation because it tells you about the history of the penny, if not commemorates it. Okay. So anyway, this is one of my favorite collections. This shows how the pennies began. The Flying Eagle cents and the Indian head penny are great ways to start, and this will show you with some pretty good lighting, I think, that I have here. The 1857 Flying Eagle cents, these are all good examples of those. There was one prior to 1857, that was 1856, and that was a pattern or a trial, kind of a trial design for this one. So in other words, 1857 here was the first small cent. The ones prior to 1857 were actually large cents. So that's where you draw that line there. It's interesting. It's a piece of history, you don't learn it too many other places, but this collection is pretty much average. It's not worth anything monetarily necessarily, but the copper nickel composition went from 1864 all the way up. This was the copper nickel composition. So they all have their own way of toning and getting tarnishing over the years. In 1864, you basically have the bronze. Bronze is usually a mixture of copper and tin, but they lasted all the way from 1864 all the way through these here. It's a lot of years, the bronze composition. But not everybody really was aware of the initial composition of these was different. Copper, nickel, bronze started there. So all the way down through here, honestly, is all bronze. Now the interesting thing is, obviously starting with the, the Flying Eagle cents as being the small cents for America. These Indian heads are definitely small cents too. You had the, the 1909 Indian head cent. And you kind of hold that thought for a minute because the small cents continued. Right there, 1909 for the first wheat penny. And wheat pennies are kind of interesting, but they went for a long, long while. 1909 all the way down, going past 1938 now, all the way up here to, 1943, the steel wheat penny, due to the copper shortage for the war effort. And, I just kind of make my little notes here as I go along, but the 1958 was the very last wheat penny. This folder in particular doesn't show you the reverse of the coins, but the information I'm telling you here is accurate. The wheat penny design stopped there in 58, picked up immediately with the first Monticello on the reverse. Monticello, there's his home, Lincoln's home. So it picked up there, and Monticello stayed a main thing for a long, long time, going right here past 1969. All the way on through. Okay, 1994, going all the way through here, 95, 96, 97, 98, 1999. Okay, and the Monticello design was still holding strong at that point. There are more updated parts of my collection which run from 2000 to date. So we just got done with 1999, and this will pick up right here. Let's see. This picks up 2000, 2001, 3, 4. I guess I really made a mess of this because I just kind of jotted it down on here. But when you got to 2009, there were 4 pennies, as you know, printed in 2009, each one having a different reverse for that entire year of 2009. And it really was the bicentennial of his birth, Lincoln's, where they wanted to celebrate that. So I can't really zoom in too well, apparently, with this camera, but it's his birth in Kentucky for this one. And then came the formative years in Indiana. And the third one was the professional years in Illinois. And the fourth one in 2009 was basically his presidency in D.C. So this is just another way to display all 4 for 2009. Okay. The following year, in 2010, the very first shield reverse was made. It's interesting that I can't actually show you that because it's on the other side of this, and these are not meant to be showing the reverse. It's the one thing I don't like about that particular folder. They could have made it with some clear material or something to let it show. In other words, the first shield. And the shields just ran all the way through, 2021, 2022, 23, 24, 25, and in 2026, it doesn't look like more than the current supply of copper sheets that the mint has will hold out past the beginning of, January of 2026. And then it looks like there's no hype about that. It just looks like that's the way it's going to be. The cost effectiveness of the penny has always been in question. It costs 3 cents to make a penny these days. So 2026 can be had. You just have to be able to, to look around a bit for that at the beginning of the year when it's available. I would love to have one myself. Okay, well, I'm going backwards now. There's pieces of history about the cent, not necessarily Lincoln, that are always interesting to delve into a little more. Yeah, okay, well, we've already been here, so if you look at the older folder, I'll use that as a springboard for some of the older cents there are. Let's see, where do we start here? Yeah, the flying cent. Okay. Yeah, the 1957 Flying Eagle cent is nice, but there was one in the year before them. I think I mentioned already, the 1856 had a pattern. So there wasn't really a space for that here. But what I can tell you is there are some interesting things to say about, 1956 and prior. Also, interestingly enough, at the end of my video, I have a slideshow, which basically shows the front and back and the names and the dates of some of these. So, please hang out until the end and watch that slideshow, because it shows you really what these coins look like. We're basically talking about large cents now, because it's prior to, the 1857 mark. My collection itself does not go back past 1857, but I wanted to give you all an idea, what these cents look like. Maybe there's a little bit of a collector in all of us that wants to go and, get some of these large cents, and I never did that for some reason, but I just wanted to show you some of my interest and my passion in the collection that I have. Now that I know that the cents are going to stop. Anyway, I hope this video is, interesting, and that it serves, several, maybe a purpose of, memorializing the cent. Okay, I don't really know that, I don't think I'll ever, I don't know if I'll be able to get a hold of a 2026 cent. I just don't know that. From what I've read, they might be a little on the rare side. And if that's the case, okay. But just how many years there were rumors and myths about, stopping the cent, and that went all the way back to about 2010, as far as I can remember. So it's been a while. Well, listen, folks, I don't need to drag it on. I just wanted to let you know, if you can get a hold of a 2026 cent, you should probably go ahead and do it. Some will be in, primo condition, the proof sets. Other ones will be in circulation, where you can find them in your pockets. But anyway, again, I hope this video was helpful and enjoyable, and please watch the slideshow right after this. Okay, all right. Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you for letting me get that out there. Okay, all right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.